So let's start by doing our circles, our hip circles. So we're just going to lay on the side. Make sure that your hips are extended. And then from there, if you need to use your lower leg, bend your lower leg. But make sure this upper leg is pretty much in line. Ankle, knee, hip, shoulder, ear. All the way nice and straight. Use your hand if you need to support your head, or a yoga block, or a foam roller. And then what we're going to do is big circles. We're going to double check. Make sure the circle is nice and round. And then that your knee goes behind your butt. Same thing, other side or other direction. We'll call this counterclockwise. I don't know what it is really. And the most important part of this is to make sure that this leg goes back here some. Doesn't have to go a lot, just a little bit. Then we're going to roll to the other side, come back here, use our pillow. And again, we're looking for symmetry right to left. We're looking for symmetry clockwise to counterclockwise. And we're looking for symmetry in our circle. So we don't want the circle to just come over here like this. We want the circle to continue and be round on this backside. Okay. Now, and the next thing is this. We're going to do some lower body segmental rolls. Oops. Sorry, Linda. All right, here we go. So, lower body segmental rolls. Remember again, it's sequential. So we move the ankle moves the knee moves the hip, and we're just going to roll over, and we're going to pretend that our leg is as straight as it can be, perpendicular to the floor, and reach over this way. You should be able to be flat-ish. You won't be perfectly flat, but we're looking for a nice twist. Same thing. And like I said, it's sequential. So ankles, knee, move the hip. Your chest is relatively flat. Watch out, Thomas. Go over here. Thank you. And the idea of this exercise is we want to use the hip as much as possible and at the back as little as possible. And then we want to be able to which means that we want to disassociate the upper body from the lower body. All right, so now, let's go like this. We're going to go onto our hands and knees. And we're just going to rock to the side, back and forth, side to side. Then we're going to rock do a circle, and we'll call this counterclockwise. I don't know what it is. And then we'll go clockwise. And we're having our knees on the ground on this one. Because we're trying to get your leg, your femur, to just get inside that hip joint and just circle around in there and make sure it's clean, nice and clean and easy to move. Kind of think of it as like you're flossing your teeth, but you're flossing your hips. All right, so now rotation of the pelvis, forward, backward, forward, backward. Make sure your shoulders are back away from your ears and then push firmly into the ground. Forward, backward. We'll just do 2 more. And then now we're going to go the whole spine. Look there between your legs. Look up towards the ceiling. We'll just go back and forth, the whole spine moving now. But still, you're still able to press the heels of your palm into the ground. Okay. Good, and we'll just go back and forth, just a little bit of rocking one more time. 3, 4, 5. All right. Now, let's get our a chair or something. And we're going to do a forward and back lunge, but we're going to add a little bit of something to this. So we're going to go forward lunge, nice big step, keep your torso nice and upright, backward lunge, nice big step. And then we're just going to hang out at this bottom position just for a second, and then come back up, hang out, hang out, and then one more. And then if you need to use your chair for balance, then use your chair for balance. So same thing, other leg, nice big step forward, hang out for a second, hang out for a second, and we want our feet to be parallel. And we want to be as smooth as we can. These are less than smooth. Here we go. So we're just going to pause at the bottom and then pause at the bottom. All right. And then we're just going to do half segmental rolls. So we're just going to roll, not all the way over, similar to what we did in the beginning. We're just going to bring that leg over. Now on this one, even the rotation is always nice, but even if you just kick your leg back behind you, keep your heel kind of on the low side, and then just keep pushing that heel backwards, you'll get a little stretch here in the front part of your leg. Just a tiny bit. And that's good enough for right now, because that's going to set us up really nicely for the lunges that we're doing. Bless you. And when we're doing this, anytime we have that leg back there in the segmental rolls or whatever, we want to have some stretching here for sure, but some tightness in the glutes, those big muscles in the back, we want them to be working. And then we should always be breathing. All right. And we're going to go back to the lunges. Nice and slow. So, a medium step. Hang out at the bottom for a second. Keep your torso upright. Hang out at the bottom. Same thing, other side. Now, the trick to this is that as we are going to come back and transition to the step backwards, take your head, take your torso, lean back, and that will help you get that leg back there in a little bit smoother fashion. So a little bit less, you have to push off just a little bit less. Good. And then back here, we'll do side view. All the way to the ground. Stretch here, tight back here. Now I just want to add to this, we do a lot of these segmental rolls, they're awesome, I like them a lot. But if you know of a thing, or if you're seeing a PT or something, if you know of a thing that's like, say, the toe touch really helps you, or something like this, really makes your back feel good. Substitute the thing that you know works and makes you feel good for this segmental roll. All right, here we go. Last one. Big step backwards. Settle in. Hang out for a second. Come forward. We don't really care too much how deep the lunge is. We just care about keeping the feet parallel and making that transition backwards to forwards real nice and smooth. And forwards to backwards. Good. Here's our last. No, we started with the, I think we started with the segmental rolls. All right, so next we're gonna do the sumo deadlift. So grab a band, and then we're gonna do some crawling and some standing knee raises. So we're gonna start with the band. This month we're doing the sumo deadlift. So it's a great way to, sumo deadlift's a great way to show that there's a lot of rotation with hip extension. There's definitely this, but with the sumo deadlift, there's a lot of this as well. So grab in the middle. As wide as you can be. Your shoulder blades are back a little bit. Your back is in just a little bit of extension. Grab onto this nice and firmly. And then twist just a little bit so your elbow pits go forward. And that will get those shoulders away from your ears just the last little bit. Full hip extension, or as full as you can get it. Lean back just a teeny bit, and then hips go backwards, hips go forwards. We're trying to get 6 of these in. Nice wide stance. We're going to call this 5. And then 6. Nothing should really be moving. The knees move a teeny tiny bit. Everything is right here. Everything above that should be all one piece. The band shouldn't pull your shoulders out of position or pull it anywhere. It should be basically everything above the hip joint moves as one solid piece, no movement of the shoulders. All right. So we're going to come back to standing marches. Again, same thing that we did with the lunges. We're just going to bring one leg up, and then one trick to getting this to balance. We're only going to do 4 of these. One thing to get, the trick is to get this to be able to balance on this is you pick up this one leg, you push the other one down into the ground. Make sure this knee gets nice and straight. And these muscles back here get as tight as you can get them to be tight. This is, again, if you have to use the wall, use the wall. What you will see is that just a little bit of touching makes a big difference. So we're going to be here. Put the foot down. Press the heel into the ground. Straighten the knee. Pull this up here. Okay, one more each side. Whoop. Gotta get my foot down in there. And the other side. Whoops. Now the other trick to this is you take your toes and just press them firmly into the ground. That will help as well. All right, so side crawls. Now we're only going to do 3 of these. So off to the side. The key on this one, make sure the ankle and the knee move at the same time. It's super easy to move the knee out and just kind of leave the ankle back there, but we want both of those to move at the same time. Then we're going to move back to the sumo deadlift. Wide enough here so that you get a little stretch on the inside of your legs. Shoulders back and away from the ears. Grab, elbow pits forward. Big stretch, so you get a little bit of stretch right in through here. Press your hips forward until that happens. And no, there should be no issues in the back because we're not using the back at all. Everything above the hip joint is moving in one piece. Four. Five. Good. All right, 6, 4, 4 steps, slow motion, toes as wide as you can get them. Slowly place your toes on the ground. Up. Pull this up, push this down. 1. Start of number 2. Start of number 3. Now, this is another time. I like this exercise because a lot of times when we're walking, it can be easy to drag the feet and you trip and face plant, etc. But Chris is showing us a good thing too as well, doing this nice leg swing. That's a good substitute. Make sure that when you bring that leg back that you don't do hip spine extension. So either one of these, whether you're doing these nice little marches or a leg swing or even a leg swing sideways, or even a leg circle, standing leg circle. All of those are good ways of building balance, super important. All right, here we go. Side crawls again. Even though our knees are on the ground, we're always still looking up like we're a real beast on the savannah, and also pressing pretty firmly into the ground. So we definitely want to build these muscles here that do that pushing motion into the ground. That helps get the shoulders stable. Super important. Push into the ground. Last one. Now for most of us, this is a wide stance. It's gonna be hard for us to get into a stance that's too wide. But what you'll see is that if your stance is too wide, it's gonna be extra hard for you to get your hips as straight as possible. So if you have to come in just a little bit to get the hips a little bit straighter, then do that. Okay, I got 4 more of these to go. Okay, 5. Six. All right, and then in place marches. Here's our last trick with this one. If you can get this hip bone right here to just come up just a little bit towards the rib cage, kind of rotate your hips this way, it will also be a little bit easier to lift that leg, and then easier for this knee to get straight, and then easier to be balanced. So just a little bit of pulling up with this hip bone. Four of these. All right, and then our last little bit of side crawls, looking up, pushing into the ground firmly, shoulders away from the ears. One, two, three, only 3. In each direction.